That was good practice.
Yeah.
Now do what you need to do. Make sure it's recording. We're feeling a little outdoor game today.
Messing with lighting.
The lighting's nice. It really brings out
something about natural lighting.
my olive tone color, you know.
Yeah, you're just a beautiful, handsome man.
Thank you. Mama raised me that way. It's funny, man. Like, we switch rooms and yet we're still covered in beautiful anime.
Thankfully, nobody can see the crookedness that goes up in the wall.
You're literally the only one who sees that because you put it up.
I do. I see it.
Yeah.
So today we're doing a recap, maybe just a life update,
Acknowledgement
of kind of. It's been 3 months now since we've started this. 3 months of,
Practice.
Probably the most intense working out I've done in a long time.
But also like self-development, self-searching.
Yes, self-searching, state of constant self-analysis,
Accountability,
responsibility, constant checks and balances on each other and the people around us.
And so I reflect a lot on, we have practices where we're practicing to have accountability. Mm-hmm. And then next thing you know, you have, don't touch that.
Sorry, I don't know.
It's okay.
I got nervous.
I know. You're safe.
Yeah.
We're practicing accountability and ownership, and then suddenly I know we're like, I'm taking Cohen and my dog on a walk around our neighborhood, and we get around the corner and unfenced yard, 2 dogs were out and they ran and they attacked us, and Cohen is good, the other dogs are good, but the gal, she was coming over, she grabs her dog and she starts walking away. I'm like, oh, we need to have an adult conversation here. She goes, I'll go put the dogs away. I'm like, okay. I'm like checking Kona, there's no blood and everything, he's fine, everyone's fine. Heated as any dog owner would be, but I'm staying control. And she comes up to me, she goes, you don't get it. I got in a car accident this morning, and I'm like, what? Like my body wants to puke because we've been working so much on taking accountability and responsibility. It's not, that was out of line. I should not have had my dogs off leash. I'm very sorry about that. Is your dog okay? It's, you don't understand what I'm going through. And I'm like, dude, you don't understand what I'm going through. Like, we're not here to talk about our other problems. We're here to talk about how your 2 dogs physically attacked my 1 dog, and my dog shook and everything, and I'm pissed off. And I was healing from a partially torn hamstring, and when I fought off the dogs trying to protect my dog, I re-tore or re-hindered my hamstring, and you don't know what I'm going through. What are you doing? What are we doing right now? What are we doing?
Well, it's interesting because in that moment, all you're really expecting is, hey, I'm sorry that I let my dogs off leash and they attacked your dog.
Just acknowledge it, because
totally
then rip the Band-Aid off.
Is there anything I can do to make you up for this? But
let's exchange numbers. You let me know if your dog's okay.
Yeah, but that is just unfortunately never, or too often not, the case.
Well, dude, then just give entertainment to the story, because it also goes hand in hand with the practice. I asked for numbers exchange, and I texted later on, and my texts weren't delivered. She blocked my number through probably pure anxiety. I'm over here like, dude, we live in the same neighborhood. I'm like,
I'm just gonna walk over to your house.
I'm pacing in my house. I'm like, I gotta go confront her. So go over there, and with all this pent up emotion, which once again, taking accountability, trying to, what we've been practicing is hone in and really control the animal inside of us. And I remember turning the corner and her garage was open. I was like, hey, do you remember me from this morning? And she kind of stood up, very timid, and she looked at me, her entire face went white. She goes, yeah, can we just take this out there, not in here? And I had this moment, I was like, this woman's petrified of me. I'm like, I've never seen somebody look so scared of me. And it was this moment of like, How am I holding myself? Am I coming too strong? Gosh, now I see her car. She did get T-boned pretty bad, and it's just another day of now I'm taking responsibility of my emotions. I'm okay. My dog's okay. I'm just frustrated because somebody's not giving me the acknowledgement that I need, because somebody's not giving me the responsibility that they should be taking, because they're not taking ownership that we've been practicing. So it was almost as if now, as much as ownership I'm taking, I gotta almost accept and understand that people aren't gonna take the same ownership and responsibility. And I think it's practice of not expecting. It's almost like I
Right.
feel like I'm expecting others because we're practicing this control of our life. I don't know how to put it to words.
It's a difficult concept because you sent me a very, very powerful and deep video a little while ago, talking about change, talking about growth and what it's like for the people around you, not necessarily for yourself. In that situation, that is just a random woman who destiny is brought into your life due to the fact that she let her dogs off leash and they attacked your dog. A very unfortunate circumstance, but it's just circumstantial that you ran into her and that's what happened. But
If I would have left
Yeah.
10 minutes later, 10 minutes earlier, maybe never would have passed.
Whereas it's a different conversation when we're talking about the people closest to us, because it's this fine balance of and I think taking responsibility for everything that happens to you is one of the hardest practices to implement. It's so easy to complain and excuse and chalk everything up to all the little minute details that may have happened that day, or something that really doesn't feel like your fault, and then when you really have to buckle down and try to analyze, okay, how do I take full responsibility for this, it feels so uncomfortable. And then when you apply that to people who aren't necessarily in the same mental space or development process as you, then it gets really uncomfortable.
Because that's what I go. I'll literally tell myself, I'm like, this is the practice. This is the practice.
know?
Like, accepting that, like, it's an intensity that is supposed to flow like a river. We're supposed to have this beautiful Zen control of, like, I'm so comfortable in my beliefs and who I am, and everything is just, like, fine and woosah, and then somebody kind of puts a wedge in there and you're like, like...
Yeah, especially if it's somebody close to you. Because there's a part of me that always wants to... I was even just about to use the word correct, which seems so derogatory, because then it makes it seem like I'm looking down, like, hey, how you're living your life isn't as good as what I'm doing, because
With people who are close to you?
Yeah, because I'm in this state of self-development, and look at all this stuff that I'm trying to apply. You should do this. And people are like, whoa, I didn't ask for any of that. But what ends up happening is the more you change, and this is kind of going back to the video you sent me, the more you become a different person that those people no longer recognize, which I thought was so interesting when they talk about why
You're killing off the friend that they're
killing
used
off
to.
the friend that they're used to. Like, why is it so hard for the people around you when you are trying to change?
And that's why the practice is let's keep growing together. That's why intimate relationships with partnerships like your wife and growing together. That's
change together.
Yeah,
We're gonna
you're
change
not
together.
necessarily killing off one person. Now you're kind of growing together and like shedding skins almost more,
Right.
Instead of
And
viewing it
almost
as
becoming one as you grow together. So it's like, look, we can be separate entities. We're always going to be separate people. You're going to have your interests. I'm going to have my interests. But if we can apply very similar principles and kind of core tenets and values to why we're doing the things that we're doing, we are going to grow to a separate entity, but we're going to do it together. We're going to be a tree growing together rather than trying to split apart because I'm going this way and you're going that way. I can have my direction. All right, let's say I want to be a writer and you want to be an artist. We can both do that by applying the same principles, but we're still separate people. But it's just really interesting how, let's say you became really good friends with somebody at one stage in your life. You are very much on developing to a better, kind of more efficient, higher version of yourself, but that person isn't, it can be really hard on that person too, because they're over here thinking, hey, my best friend is this person that I fell in love with, and now you're becoming this different person.
Well, like right now, my core people, dude, everyone's just grinding at this moment. Like I took a step back. I'm like, we're all just leveling up right now, and it's so fun to know that we're in this late 20, early 30 moment of like, okay, like pieces are getting in places, and
Yeah.
we're all finding organizations, and we're prioritizing time for our friendship when we're grinding so hard on our individuals.
Yeah.
That's the beautiful part. As we're growing and shedding skins, we're also understanding that the responsibility I'm putting for myself, I'm also putting into my friendships.
Yeah.
But one thing I heard you say, Ren, that I want to come back to, where people who are around you or are closer to you during these challenges, I feel like I'm just the closest people to me, I'm more vulnerable to. So the people who have as much impact on me, they don't hold as much weight, but the weight of the people who are closer to me do. And that's because there's less armor on around them.
Yeah.
You know, you're in your home. You're putting up the blade, the shield, the armor, and you're just kind of sitting around. So it hits more emotionally with the people around you, because we're all changing, and if we're not changing together, it hurts. So yeah, I'm in just reflecting these like last 3 months and the process of the growth, man, the growth of my closer friendships and the style of communication I've been having. It just feels like we're putting so much more intellectual time into my friendships, and not just, I don't know, going on trips, doing activities. It's just, the brain is so beautiful, man.
It almost feels like there's more intent behind everything.
It feels more intent. That's exactly what I'm trying to say. Everything's been more passionate, and life's just been feeling more fulfilling.
Yeah.
Even though what we're doing is putting stress. Well,
pressure.
Pressure makes diamonds, man.
It's pressure.
And it's good, man, because it's just, the pressure is only easy through communication, through having moments where we come into this garage and have intense workouts, and we ended up sitting on the ground and talking for 90 minutes, because what we're doing is not just coming here to physically look better. We're here for our mind and our bodies come next. We're here to put ourselves under long, intense workouts to harden the brain, to harden the soul, to harden the heart.
Yeah.
And if that takes us to sit down and talk,
Sometimes the talks are harder. You know
yeah,
what I
dude,
mean?
sometimes. Like,
The
you think you're gonna
talks.
puke off of some of these intense spikes?
Yeah.
It's like almost puking. Like it literally, that uncomfort feeling in your stomach of, like accepting. What was the one you had me do the other day? Where it's like, you're like, say it like this. I'm like, oh, remember?
Was the one it was taking responsibility for you breaking the glass?
Yeah. Oh yeah. So, yeah, the waitress or the customer who like grabbed the glass when I was trying to move back.
Customer grabbed you. You're not really looking.
Yeah, we talked about that last.
Anybody
podcast.
looking would be like, dude, I can't believe that person grabbed you and made you drop that glass. And logically, that makes the most sense. It does.
Yeah, I
But
can't
for-
believe that.
Yeah, for the sake of the practice of taking responsibility.
If I had better balance, I could have held it. And it's the concept sounds almost funny to say, and I laugh at it, but the practice is so real.
It is.
It's, even though it's like a no duh, if I had better balance, I could have like maybe not have dropped it.
Yeah.
But it's just say it. If I had better balance, I wouldn't have dropped it. Again, if I had better balance, I wouldn't have dropped it. And it's normalizing accountability. That's the practice. It's now, is that like true? I mean, yes, it's true, but
It seems silly.
It seems silly to say,
does.
and that's part of the practice of accountability. If it's harder to take accountability of the bigger things, you got to start with the smaller things.
And it's also leadership. You're instead of shirking the blame, even in a moment where it feels completely right, it's just going out of your way to take the blame. Mm-hmm. Going out of your
taking
way
ownership.
To take ownership.
And I think that's a really good practice that everyone should do.
Yeah.
Where that's how we were getting to the steps of taking ownership for bigger things is by taking smaller things that, like, understanding, like, I'm driving here. I know the garbage was full this morning.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to take it out later. I could have taken it out now. Mm-hmm. Saying it, practicing it.
Exactly. It's just practice.
I could have got up at 7:15 on that first alarm.
Yeah.
But it's just like, well, yeah, I'm okay that I got up at 7:30. I want to practice. I should have got up at 7:15.
Another good example. Last night we had a coworker drop, 6 plates off the tray.
Yeah, new
I was
person.
really close by when that happened.
Mm-hmm. New person. She took it like a champ.
Yeah, she did great. What I can say to really work on taking accountability is I should have noticed how she was carrying it and where she was going to end up.
You should have said something.
Should have said something, but I didn't.
And now it's a new moment, and you're like, now you're taking the responsibility, and saying it out loud brings it to more fruition. I should have stopped her when I noticed that she was carrying it wrong,
or I should have stuck around because she's new and made sure the doors weren't swinging back instead of just treating it like a normal situation.
And that's practice of accountability.
Yes,
and that's
people are like, "What are you talking about? It's not your fault," and it's not a matter of me.
You're putting fault on yourself.
I'm doing it on purpose.
You're putting pressure on yourself.
Yes, exactly. I'm doing this on purpose. I want to do this. Why the hell do you want to do that? Well, because I want to be a leader, and I want to be somebody that people can rely on. And somebody people can rely on, take accountability.
And if I practice that, I'm gonna probably make a different action in the future.
Yeah.
You're gonna see different moments in your surrounding life, your day to day, where you're like, you're almost gonna like catch yourself, and you're gonna say something. You're like, "Whoa, I wouldn't have said that like a month ago." Mm-hmm. But since this accountability, I've been practicing. That's what I've been seeing, man. So many of the beginning little processes that we started, and now they're just becoming so natural. I'm like, oh my gosh, like our day to day lifestyles have been working.
Yeah, no, it makes a big difference. I notice it, the mental shift all the time. Mm-hmm. One of the issues I'm running into is I need to be better about not allowing it to leak out into people who aren't on that path, because you hear it in people, you hear things people say, and the immediate gut snapping instinct is to say, no, take ownership for that. But that's not
being a leader.
Yeah, it's not my job. My job is to focus on myself. Mm-hmm. And that sounds selfish, but not in a way of ignoring everybody, but allowing other people to kind of go on their own.
Well, it's like when that gal, the situation when she attacked the dog and I made the corner and I saw her emotions right there.
Yeah.
I took myself back and I said, okay, gather yourself. Everything you've been practicing, I'm like, hey, I want to start this conversation off with.
Yeah.
Everything's okay.
Yeah.
My dog's okay. Your dogs are okay, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is going to be a healthier conversation. We just need to have this conversation as two adults. Like, that was wrong. A, B, C, D. Yeah. And I was really proud of myself because I had almost the right to point. How could you? You were so wrong. That's like what were you thinking? I'm like over here. I'm like, take control.
Yeah.
Sheath it. And I'm just like, you know what? I can see you're having a really hard day with that car, and that's horrible. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm happy to see that you're safe. I'm happy to see your dog safe, but I need to accountability to accept it. I need to know we're neighbors. Like, we're gonna be living in this neighborhood. Mm-hmm. Let's have a cordial conversation. And it was good, man. And I'm just proud of myself where little wins have been happening left and right, and yeah, it's bettering all my friendships. And I'm just, like I said in the beginning, feeling so much more comfortable in my skin.
Dude, and that's such a massive thing that I just don't think people realize is when you start to live each day with an intent, you're excited to go to bed, and then you're excited to wake up. Mm-hmm. You're grateful for everything that you're doing. You express the gratitude to the people around you, and you're living in a much higher vibration. Everything gets drawn. People like you attract things to you.
We shine so bright that people are wondering what's going on. Exactly.
And things just start to happen when you start living this way, rather than, my mom used to always say, you can't wait for the ship, but you got to swim out to it. Mm-hmm. And it's just like when you actually start swimming and you actually wake up and you say, this is what I'm going to do today. This is what, like Jim Rome was saying, you plan out your day, you plan out your week, you plan out your month, you plan out your year.
I got to do that better.
You know, but it
There's
just starts
great
with the
practice,
day,
yeah.
you know, so, which is what we're doing. I'm going to wake up. I'm doing my thing in the morning. You're doing your thing in the morning. We're going to meet at the garage. We're going to get a great workout in. And then everything after that is I have an idea of what I'm doing every single day.
Get home, get my responsibility done for the cleaning, prioritize taking out my dog.
Yeah. You have a list of things.
Like make sure that my hygiene's good for myself for the day. And then also prioritize, as my wife calls it, my little video time. I enjoy it.
But that's
and
okay.
I earn it.
Yeah, and that's okay because you've even scheduled it. You're like, yeah, when I get home tonight, I'm going to watch some anime. What I see and I can even reflect back to when I was like this, when I was younger, when I see people that are kind of most unhappy or going through the hardest time, if I asked you in the morning, it's like, hey man, what are your plans today? You could tell me. Every day you can tell me, yeah, this is what I'm doing today. The moment somebody goes, I don't know, I'm like, oh, I understand, I see.
But you know what's fun about that is though, some of my favorite days, I don't know.
But those are days where, like, if I have let's say I have 3 days off in a stretch, and I just want to take a day to just relax. I don't know. I think I'm just going to be chilling today. Like, this is just a down day.
Touche. I know. You know
what I mean?
I know what I'm doing today is whatever the wind blows.
Yeah.
Like today is a freedom day that I chose to be this day.
Yeah.
Wonderful. I'm taking ownership and accountability that's what today is.
Yes. See, it's different because you're like, no, today is that day for me where. Whatever, man. Like I'm just letting go of the reins for a bit, and I'm just gonna decompress.
Because I think having those moments, I think diet is something that should be a little bit more stricter on that. But like, because it's just you're not gonna put different fuel in a car that needs one style of fuel. We're outside now, so we got a little Mecco.
Please be careful, Mecco. Outside, go. He just takes the wire out.
Yeah, dude.
Please don't.
No, but it's just I think those days are so good for mental notes, for unexpected creativity. I think that's so much fun, but you got to maintain the same fuel. I just have something in my mind that I feel like I want to shed too. Is I feel during this process I've been doing really good on accountability. Miko boy.
Okay.
I feel like I'm doing really good accountability in person. Guy, what a guy.
Sit. Good boy.
Yeah, show me. Yeah, show me. I do really good accountability in person. I'm such a in-person, face-to-face guy.
Yeah.
And then I'm so bad at accountability virtually. My cell phone, phone calls, texts. I feel like I'm putting so much time in like right here and right now that I find a safeguard and not necessarily having to reply. It's like when I'm talking to you, we gotta hash it out.
Yeah.
I'm talking with my wife, I'm talking to a friend. It's right here, right? Yeah. In state, in the same city. But Mama, I'll call you back.
Yeah.
But yeah, right there.
Yeah.
I gotta call my mom back. I'm gonna do it. It's just allowing this daily routine to give it that time. I don't know. It's just a struggle I have.
I think it's the way you look at the phone, right? So for me, if you text me and I see it, I have to reply because that to me is the conversation. And if I'm not going to reply, I have to tell you, or there has to be a sign of
Take
like
accountability.
the conversation's over. Like, all right, I'll talk to you later, or I'm going to bed, or like, hey, I'm working, or letting the person know. Whereas I think a lot of other people see text messages and it's almost just like a continuous thing. You can reply whenever, and that's a different way to look at it. I'm not saying my way is the right way. It's just how I do it. But unfortunately, what that means is I expect the people who I talk to have the same respect for me. Because if I get a text and I see it, I'm going to take the time. And if I don't have the time, I'm going to let you know.
Sometimes I'll say in my mind, I'll be like, well, what happens like if it was like back in the day where they're like writing letters? Like, I'm like, people still loved each other. Like
yeah, but it's not a letter. It's an instantaneous message.
It's today's time.
Instant message.
It's adjusting.
You know?
It's adapting,
Yeah.
and it's not about making excuses.
Yeah.
And that's just a practice that I felt drawn to talk about outwardly, because once again we have to speak it out loud
Yeah.
to really absorb it. And I've been holding that one in.
Yeah.
So I think that was just me utilizing this platform.
Yeah. No,
Conversation
I think
with
it's
you.
good. I honestly think everybody should turn on read receipts.
Read receipt. Yeah.
You know?
So people
you
understand.
know that when somebody's read it and they haven't responded. You know what I mean?
People's anxieties go through the roof.
Yeah, but it's just.
But then what about? There's just like, now it's just like on the end of somebody else who's, well, why aren't you replying? Why aren't you replying? Why aren't you replying? Now it's bringing anxiety to people where it's like, I don't know, expectation. The phone's just a crazy thing.
It is. But you know what? It just comes with direct communication. If you can't reply, or you need time to digest, hey, I appreciate this. Give me some time. I want to make sure I come up with a good reply for you. I want to give you the time.
That's my mindset too. And I don't text them that, and then I never get back. And
Because if you leave it ambiguous,
so,
now you're leaving it up to that person to come up with their reasons for why you didn't.
I just hate how much anxiety my like mind has normalized and created from like day one with a cell phone.
Yeah.
It's just,
Some people get anxiety when they get a phone call.
Yeah.
Because text messaging has become so prevalent that talking on the phone is too much. Why are you calling me?
there's a friend who I met, or a friend of mine, she has this like almost like cyber looking, just Game Boy kind of looking phone.
Yeah.
And basically it only takes texts and phone calls.
Okay.
And it's $200, and it goes into your plan,
Yeah.
and you just put your SIM card from your iPhone, you put it right in there,
Yeah.
and then it takes only phone calls and text messages. And
Huh.
then she puts her phone in the drawer,
Yeah.
and she takes it out for as if it's screen time, an
Oh.
iPad. I can't like,
That's actually a good idea.
dude. And she's like,
Or you get one of those.
that's what I'm saying. Like, what a beautiful practice, and outwardly letting people know and stuff. And because she was sitting up at the bar and she's just reading a book, and I'm like, she's like, yeah, I decided like, she's also finished college, and she was like, I want to rekindle my relationship with reading because I finished college and it's become a burden.
Yeah.
And she's just doing this discontinuing. I'm like, gosh, those are two growths I want to get back into as well. Like, I don't know, cell phone. I just got into that.
No, it's good. I mean, it's a really good conversation to have. Just also anxiety in general, I think is a good topic, and just where it comes from and how taking control or responsibility for your life can alleviate
Accountability, and like that's what it is, man. It's been alleviating it so much, and it's been alleviating through my heightened emotion by being affected by so many things, and understanding that it's just more self-talk.
Yeah, more self-talk, but also more action. Mm-hmm. So acting on what you're preaching.
And that's why I've been saying a lot of my goals out loud. Like right there, I want to be more accountable on replying to text messages and calling.
Yeah.
Yeah. I said at my wedding to Megan
Yeah.
when we were on our own. Now she's just been playfully poking heads around the corner. You call this person?
Nope.
No.
Nope.
No. So, just a boy trying to be a man.
That's another battle I have is when I hear somebody say they want to do something. Mm-hmm. I really struggle with volunteering myself as their accountability partner. And it drives people around me crazy.
Well, it's because of the intensity.
Yeah. And what happens is, just like Megan's doing to you, I'll hear somebody say, yeah, I'm going to do this. And then every day I'm tempted to be like, hey, have you done that yet? Knowing full well they have not.
Well, that's the thing is, if I don't take ownership, I can be grateful that she's being supportive. People can be grateful of your support.
Yeah.
Her support is a little more softer than yours, but it's the next step of, okay, I know I need their support. I'm very grateful for it. But if I don't take action now, because I'm saying I need a little boost, I need that support, then I'm being disrespectful to them. Because they're putting the time in to respect me. They know I need a little push.
Yeah.
So it's just, I'm grateful for the friends that give me pushes. Now I'm taking accountability. I'm saying, they're doing that for me.
Yeah.
No, don't smear it. Not, like, I feel like it's just I'm being a dick to them. And oh my God bless you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Just being a dick if I don't take action when they're going out of their way to give time for me.
Yeah, I mean that's a good way. Honestly, that's a beneficial way to look at it. I don't think everybody looks at it that way.
I didn't always look at it like that until we started practicing about looking at everything outwardly.
Yeah.
And looking at two coins. And I think looking at the other side of the coin has really been beneficial for me in the sense of there's a situation and I might be potent on one side.
Yeah.
But I take the time to see the other side, and then I can have, if anything, I can find a better way to say my opinion by understanding theirs.
Yeah.
And not in a way of slashing them down, but by guiding through information. Mm-hmm. And that's been my greatest growth on these last 3 months, in my opinion, is honing that power that I have to benefit a lot of my friendships, decisions, successes, growths.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You said something a little while ago that made me look up the word. We talked about compassion. So what I did was I looked up compassion. And compassion, the definition based on what Google tells me, is the ability to empathize with somebody else's negative event. Or
one more time.
Compassion is your ability to empathize with somebody else's situation, usually like a negative situation. Mm-hmm. So I was thinking about it, and I'm like thinking to myself, empathize, empathy, like how much empathy do I have? And where I disagree is if somebody says, Marston, you're not compassionate, meaning you don't have empathy. And I'm not saying you said this is me having a conversation in my head. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, am I not empathetic? And I decided that I was empathetic, but where I was having the most trouble was I would digest someone's situation, and then I would formulate the solution to how to fix it, and then I would present the solution to said person. Here is your solution. Where that's wrong is when you are no longer letting people make their own mistakes and discover solutions for themselves, and then apply.
You never got the solution yourself unless you figured it out yourself.
You know, I mean,
people guided you.
My mom tried to do the same thing to me my entire life, and I still am not applying. I'm sorry, Mom. Half the lessons that she taught me when I was little, like a lot of them stuck, but there are just some things that it's almost like you just have to go through it and figure it out yourself, and then as you age and develop, you change and become those things. So I guess where I'm going with this and what's difficult is I'm finding it challenging because my standard for what I've been doing is I've been applying my standard for my own growth at the age of 32 and through my own experience to people that are much younger that just happen to be close to me.
And then it holds on you.
And then I'm like, dude, what do you, like, why aren't you doing that? Look, it's right here. Just do it. You know, so that empathy has now given way to like, hey, here's the answer. What do you mean? It's just do it. You know,
and that's the two sides of the coin, is understanding your side. Now it's seeing why they see it the way they see it on the other side of the coin. And now since you've took the time to absorb their side, it's guiding them. And that's where it all goes down to, like we have our conversations. It's just your intention's good. It's the style, choice of dialogue.
Yeah, choice of dialogue.
People absorb so much. So people are sensitive. Everyone's sensitive.
Very, very sensitive. Especially nowadays. People are very, very sensitive.
You're sensitive. I'm sensitive. Everyone's sensitive. And that's why the choice of dialogue and the choice of tone is so important. And to have actually reached somebody or break friendships, break bonds, it's all how you choose to say it. And sometimes there are people who are like, well, that's soft or this or that. Or I'm like, it's just, it's reaching them. And also, like you said, they have to learn.
Yeah.
They have to make a mistake.
So then my question comes here. My next question is, or kind of where I go from here is, so what we're doing is we're working on surrounding ourselves with people that are going to propel us forward, right?
who can be doing whatever they want in different places.
Different places. It doesn't matter what you're doing. Like you said, right now there's a bunch of people around you grinding.
Grinding, man.
We got a friend going back to school who's really hitting art hard, painting,
So
doing
proud.
ceramics, doing awesome things. His schedule is now much more filled and compact, and he's got lots to do. He's doing that. We have another friend who plays piano constantly, teaches, still working on his fitness, doing things like that. We're surrounded by people who are trying to grow. They don't have to be doing the same thing, but you can see the effort being put into place. So, what do you do when you have somebody who just isn't putting in that effort, but maybe might feel like they are, but isn't?
So it's all about, my opinion
Yeah.
is the amount of energy I put into it. Now, I have a baseline energy that I put in everyone, and like,
Yeah.
I love them, and they'll get this side of me.
Yeah.
But if you want the more in-depth side, of course, we have to be pedaling at the same speed. But like we said before, you can't teach an old dog a new trick. You can't teach somebody over 25 really how to do stuff. They've become so statued in their individual self, and if we try to push too hard, then it's unbeneficial to us, and it hurts friendships and everything. So that's why I have so many beautiful friendships, but trauma's got to be, life's got to be your teacher.
Yeah.
I'll be your friend. Life will be your teacher. I'll be your friend.
That's fair, and it's a good answer. And this is just coming from a place of philosophical curiosity. Of friendship requires energy. Acquaintanceship requires far less energy, where you can just be cordial to somebody. Acquaintances at work, just being nice. How are you? Good day.
Yeah, baseline.
Very baseline stuff. Now, it's just interesting because through our discourse and conversation, we've come up with different levels to friendship, and if you have somebody,
You got it.
I'm
proud of you for choosing
working-
your words.
really working on dialogue.
You're doing
choice
good,
right now.
man. You're doing
really
good.
working on dialogue.
That's why I keep
choice
smiling
right now.
over here.
You know,
Like
it's
people could be like, "Why is he smiling?" I'm like, "Cause he's growing."
I'm really working on dialogue choice rather than just throwing out knives. But you know, you have somebody who consistently you want to consider somebody your friend, but you and I were putting a lot of effort into accomplishing certain things, and in order to have people around us, you know, it's gotta sort of feel like a mutual beneficial relationship, right? So what do you do if you have somebody that's close to you, but it's not really a mutual beneficial relationship, and it's more of an anchor?
Do you think that? So my thing about that is, are you done?
No, yeah, I'm done. I'm having a hard time trying to find the right words because it's like
It's finding somebody where there's a friendship that there's not as much benefits for you, and that if anything, some of their habits might feel like an anchor. I just think my trouble with when we have this conversation is I'm working so hard on myself that I have these friends around me, and sure, if they're not on the same path, like it just doesn't hold weight. Now, maybe I think for sometimes there's your passion. There's your compassion. There's your desire to like if they're in this realm of a friend, like I want to be this for them. Well, I'm a person where it's just like I love all of them, and like they get such a beautiful side of me. Yes, it's that I maintain that baseline. I just need to know that I need to give more to the people who are above them.
okay, good.
So I think, like how you said, it's just like we're talking about like communication over text with you about something where it's like I just want to know that that energy is being put into our friendship and everything. And I took ownership for there's a friend who's coming to go to work at our place, and she came in, signed an application. She was at the bar. A bunch of the other coworkers saw her, so I was like, "Oh, I'll like come out and grab a beer and like introduce you to everyone because they're all going out." And I'm like, I'm the bridge.
Yeah.
I didn't have to do it. Instead, you had a hard night. I didn't see my phone. I had the 35, 40 minutes I could have been home instead of grabbing a beer with the coworkers to introduce this new friend. I could have spent that time with talking to my wife and about our morning routine, and because we both woke up unexpectedly, not knowing that the other people had unconditional, like the normal day-to-day basis mornings. We both were starting at like 45 minutes earlier, and I took accountability and understanding that I did enough for that friendship. Like, I got application, I introduced. If they wanted to go out and grab a drink, I didn't need to be the bridge to go help them socialize. I put enough into that friendship. I should have looked at my phone and been like, oh, I got enough time to make it home to my wife and give some more quality time. And I could have heard about how, we could have talked about the mornings, and I'm like, oh, I saw my buddy actually was having a hard night. I can reach out. I'll call him because I walked up. And there's the accountability. And I think that's the different level of tiers of friendship, because I don't want to take away from her or other coworkers or other like I said, they're my friends, but I do need to just put more passion into the main friendships, give more of that energy, and I think that's how the line can be made, where the weight of, or as you're saying, the anchor from the other friends, it just doesn't weigh on me.
Yeah, that's fair.
And so as long as the best practice I can do is, as long as I'm prioritizing the people who are prioritizing me the most, and who are wanting growth and are like my cheerleaders as much as I'm their cheerleaders, then all the other friends, they can't take that weight from me. They can't put an anchor down. I'm just psychologically understanding what my priorities are. They can't be broken.
That's good. I have one more thing to say on this topic, and then we can, because we talk about it all the time, so I totally get it. But, so, interesting little fact I learned yesterday. I didn't know this was a thing. I always had a hunch, but I didn't know. So, we know that women, when in close proximity, they're...
Where are these facts from?
This is from one of the number one neuroscientists.
I just want to, before we say, women, where are
this
you reading this information?
This is a well-renowned neuroscientist. I was listening to her on Diary of a CEO, which is one of the world's most listened to podcasts on development and psyche and success and health practices.
Good.
So
now go.
Check it out. Diary of a CEO. Check it out. Great podcast. She was explaining how when women are in close proximity, their periods sync up. Their cycles sync up.
Known thing.
This is a known thing.
When you're eating, you're sleeping, and all that stuff.
This is a known thing. What I didn't realize was that really high stress, and things like anxiety, it was stress. She didn't say anything about anxiety, but I feel like anxiety can be transferred. Stress is contagious. So somebody that's constantly stressed around you, it's very similar to women syncing up. The stress leaks out and affects the people closest to you. So my comment is, if you are somebody that is trying to develop and be better for the people around you as a friend, and you are constantly stressed and anxious, all right, take responsibility for that and act in a way that's going to benefit you, because you're deliberately harming the people around you.
Well, that's where it goes into, if I have a friend like that, and it might be harming me, I understand that I take a step back, let life be its lesson, let trauma be its lesson, let the feeling of, now, are we less friends? No. Do I understand that you're going through something right now that I cannot help with, and like, sometimes you gotta tread water on your own?
Yeah.
Yes. Now, is it, you call me, you need me? I'm there. But, like you said, the energy spreads, man.
Yeah, it does.
I'm not abandoning you.
Yeah.
I'm allowing you to grow through this.
Putting some distance. That's
because I've come back to some of those friendships, and the friendship's so much more beautiful, because I say beautiful. That's
no.
A joke. Life's not always beautiful.
That's a good podcast conversation. That's actually something, if we're talking about reflection, the beauty, to use your word, in the negative, in the dark, in the things that you're not proud of, in the scary moments and the shame of your life.
The yang.
You know,
the yin and the yang.
Yeah, it's very important. I do feel like I feel like people try to stray away from that, forget it, push it
Otherwise,
aside.
become stagnant.
And I do think, and that is something that I've really been working on these past 3 months of really facing the things that I'm not proud of or ashamed of or weaknesses that I don't address has been really helpful. It's been unpleasant. Lack of strength. It's been unpleasant. Lack of that is my favorite. Lack of strength.
It's not a weakness. It's
Otherwise
just
known as weakness.
One of your lower end strengths.
Yeah.
Still a
It's a
strength.
strength that's not strong. So, I'm very grateful for the people that have been close to us in this time. People that we have encouraged to kind of join us on this journey. The fact that you come over here 5 times a week and work out has been awesome.
I think one of the greatest wood to the fire has been confrontation.
Oh, yes.
Hard conversations.
Confrontation's huge.
Dude, like, the most growth I've had in these last 3 months is the moments where I've had hiccups with you, I've had hiccups with other friends, and instead of letting it kind of dwell, it's like we take it to the face. We have the hard conversations. It's not going to be good. It might not even end the best, but it's going to be better than what it was. Absolutely.
Yeah.
100%. But
I actually, that can be another conversation podcast, confrontation. But yeah, I agree. This has been good. Good reflection.
I think it was a great day. And once again, what we're doing, we're shining bright, like I always say. Our actions are talking for themselves. And I'm so happy for the people we have around us and the lifestyle we've created. All the boys are coming up for
boys
are coming up to
as we speak.
Get a nice workout in. Today's a little cardio day, but